Hi, guys. Welcome back. Today we're going to visit with Eve. The name of her channel is Eve Learns to Be a Loser. I'm not a big fan of the title of her channel. And the name of this video is An Emotional Breakdown.
Telling a fat person here, no, eat vegetables and only this and only, these things. You can't eat all those other things because it's going to trigger your addiction. It's not easy. I feel like I'm feeling forced to not eat the food I love because I really want it. And it's easier said than done to say, well, just have a little bit and don't eat the rest or give the rest to somebody else. I think I know that my eating habits need to change. I know the kind of food I eat definitely needs to change. It's just hard, guys. And I think what kind of discourages me is exercise alone isn't going to fix my problem. So the 4 days that I spent sore and hurting really didn't make that big of a difference if I wasn't eating the way I should. And I wasn't. And I think that's what was making me want to eat everything, because at least for a little while I could feel comforted and not be in pain and know that all that pain was pointless.
Another tough thing for people that are trying to lose weight when you try to go the exercise route, and I'm pro-exercise, by the way, but if you're, trying to lift weights and really, get into it, a lot of times it'll increase your hunger, right? Because now you've got, your muscles working and you're going to need to fuel those muscles. And a lot of times it actually increases your hunger. This video is 7 years old, but it still makes you feel sad in the moment.
Because I probably ate all the calories that I burned in that workout session that day because I couldn't get full. But what do? How do I fix it? How do I make it different? How do I make my mind work differently? I've never been skinny. I have never been thin.
And that's a challenge. A lot of us have been thin, been high school skinny, and then we gained the freshman 15. We started gaining X amount of pounds after our first child, if you're a woman, of course, right? And we started getting heavier and heavier with time. In her case, it sounds like she's never, ever experienced what a thin body goes through. So it can be really, really stressful, and I can totally tell that it's really bringing out the sadness from her.
I have no idea what it felt like at one time to be skinny. I am so used to being in this body that sometimes I wonder, why am I doing this? I definitely don't want to be sick anymore. I don't want to have diabetes and high blood pressure and have high cholesterol and things of that nature that will eventually give me a heart attack and more than likely take me away from my daughter way too soon. And that is a huge motivation. You would think.
I think we can all agree it's hard. It's challenging losing weight. If you've never experienced being skinny like her, please let me know down in the comments. Sometimes we have a hard time doing things for ourselves, but if you do have a son, if you do have a daughter, and they are part of your why, Maybe you could let us know down in the comments as well. If you are literally dealing with what she was dealing with 7 years ago, but you're dealing with that now, let me know.
So why can't I just stick to it? Why can't I just make better choices automatically? Why can't I just do it? Why is it such a struggle if I know that I'm gonna die because of my choices? Why does it have to be so hard to make good choices? I'm sorry that I'm ending this week on this sour note. I didn't expect to get so emotional and cry, but I don't want to lie and make it seem like this is a piece of cake, because it's not. This has been a mental and physically grueling week for me. And if anything else, it helps for me just to talk about it.
Vent, Eve, vent, get it out. It is good for the soul. If you at home watching this are dealing with some stuff that's really getting to you and you need to share it, you can share it in the comments, or, you can actually, find some good friends, give them a call. And when they say, hey, I'm doing great, how's things going with you? Let's let them know you're having a tough time. That's what friends are there for.
Because sometimes when I say things out loud, it makes more sense, and I'm able to recognize or see more, or see a different side, I guess. Because watching my videos back while I'm editing, I'm able to listen to what I'm saying and try and figure things out.
I think what happened is, and this happens to a lot of us, this is why we're here at Walk Talk Vent, because we want to do something that's somewhat easier and more doable, right? When you jump into an exercise routine, one of my venters, her name is, I believe, Camilla or Camille. He was saying, hey, I've lost 4 pounds, and then in the last couple of weeks, I lost 2 more. And somebody left her a comment. I believe the guy's name was Peter. And Peter left Camille a comment that basically said something along the lines of, you've lost 4 pounds in 77 days. Like, what a waste of time. Basically, it was one of those comments. And what Peter didn't realize is that she said she had lost 4 pounds, but then in the past week or so, she had lost an additional 2 pounds. If you take 4 times 6, that's 24 pounds. So right there, Camille, you've got 25 pounds that you're on pace to lose over the next 12 calendar months, right? And for some reason, Peter's trying to talk her into going into the gym. But look what happens when Eve goes to the gym, works out for 4 days. She ends up sorer than ever, hungrier than ever. And guess what? Before you know it, she's quitting the gym and doing a video where she's crying. Okay? Are things always supposed to be easy? No, of course not. But when you baby step into things, tough, impossible things become doable and very possible. So with that being said, let's take a baby step together. So everybody, go get your shoes. Let's go for a walk.
There's pretty girl, how are you? Come see me, pretty girl. Oh my God, can we just declare Pretty Girl the mascot of Walk Talk Vent? Oh my good, what is it with me and Pretty Girl? I came out half an hour late and I still see her. Pretty girl, have a good day. Pretty girl, have a good day. That is awesome. You know what else is awesome? Sometimes when you put up a video and you think it's gonna do okay, and it doesn't. And then sometimes you put up a video that you don't think anyone's gonna give two shits about, and you guys end up taking it and you end up having some great conversations. And of course I get to eavesdrop on all of them. So some pretty good stuff there over the last couple days. Some people fall under this category. They fall under the category of if your friends are gonna say mean things to you, maybe they're not your friends. Other people, however, sometimes view it differently. They say, hey, if your true friend isn't going to be truly honest with you, then he or she isn't a true friend. And I think both of those statements are true, right? I think people need to be honest with you if they're your friends. But I also think that if people are cruel to you, that you might be dealing with a toxic friend, right? So can we all agree on this, just so there's no confusion and that so we can somehow reconcile and be on the same page? Can we all agree that yes, true friends need to be honest, but a true friend needs to leave their friend with hope? And what I mean by that is, hey, Joey, you are a little heavy. You're never gonna find love in the gay community. But I'm gonna walk with you along with Jesse from Walk Talk Vent, and we're gonna make it where the gay community thinks you're good looking again, you know? Also, remember, there's a unique situation that happens where pretty babies grow up to be average or even ugly, and ugly ducklings a lot of times grow up to be gorgeous, right? I remember there would be kids in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade just looked kind of average. And man, they really blossomed into something special in high school and college. And some of those same people that blossomed into beauties, a lot of times they had really great personalities. Because there's one advantage that average or even below average people have. You are forced to develop your personality. And you know what? I know this sounds crazy because you're kind of stuck with the demeanor and personality that you have, right? But at the same time, when you go on your walks, if you find that it's uplifting your mood and attitude, I guarantee you people will start to take notice of that, you know? And I'll tell you what, if you want to see somebody that's always scowling and always angry, right? If you want to see them change, man, they'll change if they start losing a little weight. So if that describes you and you're always kind of one bad sentence out of someone's mouth from just flipping your lid, go take a walk. See if you can make sense of why the world is making you rage and getting you angry. You know, I'm a firm believer that when you're in a bad mood, life does suck. And if you're constantly in a bad mood because you're constantly beating up the man or woman in the mirror, well, let's work on that. Let's work on that. There's certain things that are impossible to work with. You can't work with the heat in Arizona. Did you know yesterday I was in my vehicle and the news said it was 118 degrees, but my vehicle told me that outside was 121 degrees. That is crazy. What's really crazy is that was at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. is when usually the sun starts going down and it starts cooling down. But in the Arizona summers, and I'm sure you guys are similar, we have the sun is up till darn near 9 o'clock in the evening. It's crazy. And then in the winter, I always love it because it seems like 4:45, 5 o'clock, the sun's already disappearing, you know? And when the sun is there till darn near 9 o'clock, and when it's up at 4:45 in the morning like it is in Arizona, you have a situation where no wonder it's 95 degrees at 6 and 7 in the morning. The sun never leaves. The sun is here like permanently, you know? So the last couple of days, we've gotten quite a few comments from brand new people that I've never seen comment again. Hopefully, they didn't come for just the one, gay video and then they're gone. So if we have some gay and lesbian venters, welcome. Welcome. I've been trying to add more moments in my walk where I'm not talking, because I can edit out those silent moments. But the reason I'm doing it isn't because I'm not capable of babbling. As you guys know, I can babble nonstop. The reason I'm doing it is I'm trying to get my overall videos to the point where instead of the long ones being 55 minutes and the average video being about 45, I'm trying to get it where the long ones are about 42 minutes and the average is about 30 to 35 minutes. But I want to do it in a way where the people that are walking with me still enjoy the full walk. But at the same time, I think what happens, and you might be able to tell me this, but I think what happens is when you look at a video, and let's say you have 15 minutes before you got to head out the door and go do something, right? The last thing you're going to do is click on a video that's, 60 minutes long. I think it's easier for people to click on a video that's, let's say, 30 or 35 minutes long as opposed to 45 or 50 minutes. But at the same time, I know that there's some of my venters that watch the whole video. So I love to, get the whole video in there. But in case you're wondering, why are there these cuts? There's these cuts because, if I can make the video a little bit shorter, I think that'll get us a little bit more of an audience. And right now, if you're new, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up button and maybe subscribe. But listen, if you know that you're one and done and you're never going to watch a video again, you don't have to subscribe if you don't want to. I know sometimes YouTubers come up and the first 10 or 15 words out of their mouth are, hey, 3/4 of my viewers aren't subscribed. Well, you know why that is? That's because YouTube likes you and throws your video out to new people. They're never going to fully be subscribed. Duh! But at the same time, you still want to give a call to action. So if you do like the videos, you notice that this is your third or fourth and you think you're going to start watching regularly, subscribe. That would be awesome. That helps. Another thing I found out is that when I put out a new video, it mainly sends it to just my venters for the first day or two. So a video jumping up into the thousands of views, a lot of times is predicated on you venters liking it. And that's one of the things where I don't want you guys to give me artificial likes. If you don't like a video, give me a thumbs down. Because did you guys know the thumbs down help just as much as the thumbs up? What it tells the algorithm is that, hey, there's some disagreement here. Not everyone's just zombied out and agreeing with everything Jesse says. Because you got to remember, sometimes Jesse wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, right, Bob? And sometimes Jesse wakes up and he's feeling pretty darn good about himself in the world. Speaking of good about himself in the world, I'll feel good about myself if I can hit some of these shade patches. When I see Pretty Girl in the morning, that makes me feel good. I just think it's hilarious. That Pretty Girl is literally going and visiting somebody on the other side of the neighborhood. That means that dog has thoughts. Sometimes we look at our pets and we think, God, Rufus is just like a member of the family. Here's the crazy thing. What if it's true? And I don't mean as in, Rufus knows when he wakes up that he's in a good spot and he says hello to all the family members. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, what if a dog like Pretty Girl wakes up in the morning and says, you know what? I'm going to go visit my boyfriend. I'm going to go visit my girlfriend. I think that's what Pretty Girl does. And that's kind of amazing because, guys, does it get any more human than that? By the way, if you're brand new, Hey, good morning, sir. How are you?
How you doing?
Good, thank you. So anyway, like I was saying, if you're brand new to the show, Pretty Girl is an amazing dog. Because not only does Pretty Girl plot her actions and visit her boyfriend or visit another family, whoever the heck she's visiting, she uses the crosswalk. Whenever there's a four-way intersection, right, you can use the crosswalk or you can cross diagonally, right? There's nothing making you take the crosswalk. Pretty Girl knows to take the crosswalk. And Pretty Girl visits her boyfriend early in the morning and then returns home. That's human-like. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get one of those net guns and we're gonna catch Pretty Girl. Yeah, we're gonna catch Pretty Girl. All right, we're not gonna catch Pretty Girl. Get that out of your mind. Right now, Lily's thinking, I'm gonna Google Jesse a net gun. I don't know if you guys remember, there used to be a show called Robin Big. What was that show called? Was it called Robin Big? With Rob Dyrdek? And one of the episodes, because me and my kids used to watch it religiously. That was such a great show. Rest in peace, Big. But if you remember, there was one episode where Rob actually purchased a gun that shot out nets. And he was shooting his friends with it, and they would be running and the net would hit them and all of a sudden they would tumble to the ground. You know, just like something you'd see on TV, right? Where in Wild Kingdom of America, they're shooting nets at certain animals. That's what it kind of came across as. We need to get a net gun, right, Lily? We're gonna catch Pretty Girl. I just think it's funny. Every time Pretty Girl sees me, I think she thinks I'm gonna go tell her master that she's out and about or something, because she just starts taking off. And even that's human, right? It's like Pretty Girl's like, oh no, not walk, talk, vent again. And she just ditches down the alley. It's very, very funny. Very, very funny. God, that dog really makes my day. Sometimes that's all you need for your day to go well. You ever go to work and you think Dale's gonna be a jerk and you're like, oh, that Dale. But then every now and then you catch Dale on a good day and you're like, damn, Dale must have gotten laid last night. Why is he in a good mood, right? And then of course the next day Dale goes right back to being a jerk. Remember, sometimes people are jerks, but they're jerks in a way that you still love them. You know, you still like them. They're just grouchy, right? And then there's legitimate jerks. So if you're having a bad day, you go to your boss and you ask for a raise and he or she says, you know what, we're just not able to give you that raise. Don't make up a bad day, right? But at the same time, you know, don't quit because Dale's a jerk. On a bad day when Dale's a jerk, it makes you want to quit and leave your job. Don't do that. You don't want to ever leave your job unless you already have something lined up. And you got to remember, sometimes people are not real jerks. They're just a little grouchy. They're just a little Oscar the Grouchy. They're a little bit like Archie Bunker, right? And sometimes we wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Now, if Dale and Karen at work are making your life miserable, then maybe that's time to start dusting off the old resume and seeing if there's someplace else that you can work. But remember, sometimes jerks don't realize that they're jerks. And sometimes your manager or supervisor might have just come from a meeting with the head president where the head president said, you know what, Dale? I think you're being Becky's friend. And I need you to be Becky's supervisor. And I need Becky and the rest of the crew to know that they are expected to perform. And when you look at it from Dale's point of view like that, maybe that's why Dale's grouchy. The problem with this world is every time someone does us wrong, we only see things from our point of view. Sometimes you have to use your imagination, you know? That's just like your boss. Do you want to be best friends with your boss? Not necessarily. But do you want to have a relationship with your boss? I think so. You want your boss to know that you're a human being with feelings, that you have bills to pay, right? You don't want him to feel guilty if he ever has to let you go. But at the same time, you want to let him know that, hey, this is a job that you actually consider to be part of your life. Some people look at jobs as in, hey, I'm here today, I could be gone tomorrow. And that's probably a good, safe way to look at jobs because no one's promised tomorrow, right? But at the same time, if you love your job, let your boss know you love your job. Believe it or not, some people get off on that. Hey, here's your boss, Dale, with his wife, Becky, right? Hey, Becky, Joyce told me she loves the job. How the hell does she love the job? She has to work with you, Dale. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Right? If you love the job and you let your boss know and you let your coworkers know that you appreciate them, it's like a positive infectious disease that's going through the office. Man, Becky infected the office with the disease of happiness. Becky, you're spreading disease. Happiness disease. But isn't that funny how sometimes workplaces have negative culture where everything you say gets around to everybody in the worst negative way? And then some businesses, my goodness, it's almost like family where everybody knows each other and they like to hang out on their weekends and their special times off. Man, if you work in a job where everybody actually enjoys working with each other, please let us know in the comments. Because I know in my heart that a lot of us have that job that's just waiting for us to find it. And if you have a job that's the exact opposite, where it's toxic and everybody can't stand each other, and when they say good morning, it's always fake, like I said, dust off the resume, see if you can find something better, but make yourself a promise that you're gonna find something better before you just make a move. You don't wanna make a move because, hey, I've got 2 or 3 months worth of salary saved up, we'll be good. Man, that's a mistake. If you have 2 or 3 months of salary saved up, it's not so you can quit your job in case you wanna quit your job. It's so that you can survive till you get another job if you lose your job, and there's a difference there, okay? Smart people, it's kind of like the way we treat our ex-girlfriends and ex-boyfriends. Smart people get another boyfriend or girlfriend before they break up with their boyfriend and girlfriend. Smart people have another job lined up before they quit their job. Don't go through your savings. Your savings is there in case you lose your job. It's not there in case you quit your job. Quitting your job is the wrong signal, and it also tells your kids, hey, mom quit her job. In the future, if I ever get pissed at my job, I have the green light to quit my job. No, you don't, Joey. No, you don't, Junior. No, you don't, Tina. Go get your good grades. Get out of my face. Go outside and play. I'm telling you, there are too many people that have a bad morning because their supervisor said something that set them off. And you never think that, you know what? When your supervisor goes into the meeting room with the manager and has their weekly meeting, the manager might be telling them, quit being people's friends. You're not their buddy, you're their supervisor. When they want to hang out with you on the weekend, you need to tell them that you're busy and you aren't hanging out with coworkers that you supervise on the weekend. And there's a lot of good reasons for that. What if Dale starts asking people out? Then you're going to get nepotism. Then you're going to wonder why Tina got the raise and you didn't, So sometimes you got to remember, try to be your boss's friend, try to get along with people at work, but at the same time, they might not be able to reciprocate. So give them credit if they can't, okay? Don't quit your job. That's the moral of the story. Because I'll tell you what, you lose your job and you think, okay, I've got enough savings to last 2, 3, 4 months, I'll find another job. Man, pretty soon your walking won't exist anymore. You'll be too busy trying to find a job, okay? So again, if we're gonna make a proactive move like quitting our job, be smart, get your resume out there early, start to get some job offers, and you wanna know something? You'll be able to tell a lot about the real true state of the world aside from what the media tells us, because if you're trying to get a job in a market where, according to the news, there's more available jobs than there are unemployed people, well then heck, you should be able to find a job pretty quick. But if you don't, you'll know that maybe there's something up and they're not telling us the full story. Well, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good.
Good. I'm good too, thank you. Stay away from the heat. It's hot out here. I always find it interesting. Where does the human brain take things? When Dale's angry with you in the morning, man, that can make you end up just going on a tangent, a bunch of negative thoughts in your mind. I'm able to take the idea of gay people being a little harsh with other gay people that are overweight, right? And all of a sudden I flip it on Dale and Karen, right? Man, I've had so many supervisors that almost come across as like schizophrenic when you're talking to them, because like I said, if they go into that meeting room on Monday with their boss and it's a good productive week or month that we've had, man, they're all smiles and they're ready to give you a high five and a pat on the back. But if they just went in that meeting and they didn't hear what they were hoping to hear, and their boss is daling them, daling, that's the new verb, right? Their boss is being a dale to them, there's a good chance they're not going to be so happy-go-lucky that day. You know, let me ask you a question that you probably never think about. Let's say you work in a job where you're supposed to be productive, like maybe a sales type job, right? And let's say you guys have had a horrible month. You have a horrible month and every day Dale's trying to be positive. Hey, you're going to do good today. You're going to be better today than you were yesterday. Let's go, right? All of a sudden he goes from happy-go-lucky to upset, because what if he's in danger of losing his job because you guys aren't performing? You know, there's a lot of pressures that happen behind closed doors that you may never see, you may never know about. So again, one of the things that we can do in life is we can try to empathize. Hey, my supervisor is being a jerk, but he's not always a jerk. So why is he being a jerk today? Oh yeah, he just had his weekly meeting and we suck right now. When we suck, the manager and supervisor are probably not going to be that happy. And oh, by the way, for every 100 of us, I'm sure there's 20 or 30 of us that have been the supervisor or manager. You guys know how this goes. If your boss is happy, you're happy. But if your boss takes you in the room and says, you know what, you're underperforming, and if you can't do your job, I'll find someone else that can, you think you're going to be in a good mood that day? Probably not. Probably not. Man, I remember once when I worked at the movie theaters, we would have coworkers become the supervisor. And coworkers one day are just the funnest, happy-go-lucky people. And all of a sudden they're the supervisor, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, why do you keep scheduling me for Friday and Saturday? You don't think I want the occasional weekend off? You know, so before you know it, they're not even your coworker friend anymore. Now they're the supervisor, and you can't stand them. I've seen that happen a lot of times in jobs. I've also had jobs where all of a sudden I'm the supervisor, and all of a sudden nobody's really that friendly with me anymore. You know, when you decide to become a supervisor, sometimes you decide, hey, I'm going to be the not so friendly person that people don't really like anymore. And while it pays a little bit more, it's not necessarily always worth it. So if you're somebody that enjoys your coworkers, you might not want to be applying for the supervisor or managerial role. You might not want to be promoted. God, sometimes the best thing that can happen in life is a demotion or being passed over. The best way to leave a company, become a supervisor or manager. Pretty soon you'll be pulling your hair out and you'll want to leave the company, you know, because your success is no longer predicated on what you do, it's predicated on your team. So what we're going to do is we're going to be honest with our friends because they deserve honesty, but we're going to be honest with the goal of leaving hope behind, right? Yes, Joey, you're a little portly, you're a little chubby, you're a little homely looking, but there is hope. If you walk 25 miles a day like Sean, there is hope. Kidding. Kidding. Remember, with baby steps, everything and anything can be improved, okay? You go out, you get some sun, you get some walking in, you start drinking water, you start eliminating sugar, you apply a little patience, right? You gotta deploy patience in there, right? Patience needs to be your number one weapon, okay? In your armory. You need to be able to go into your armory and you need to be able to pull out a vest of patience, and you need to envelop yourself in patience. And it's not forever patience. Jesse, I've been walking for 1.5 years. No, you haven't, Bob. Stop it. Let's have some patience. It's going to take us about 60 days to start losing some weight, but guess what? After 60 days, you're a walking machine. Your diet's going to naturally improve, not because you're crash dieting. Your diet is going to improve because you're starting to apply baby steps. This is the way you should have been dieting your whole life. You want to introduce yourself to working out. If you have a goal someday that you want to jog, or you want to be a runner, or you want to be a weightlifter, and you want to proceed from walking to the gym, we can make that happen together through baby steps. Let's get you to the point where you can start to see the results from walking. It's going to take about a quarter. It's going to take about 3 months. Okay? Let's get you some results. Let's get your activity level from nil up to the roof, right? And then at that point, we can baby step you into the gym. I think sometimes people think that I'm anti-diet or I'm anti-gym. No, those are things that sometimes you have to work your way up to. Right now, you're used to failing in diets and exercise plans. I want to leave you with hope. The hope is this. I'm going to give you knowledge. If today is your first day of walking, it's going to get progressively easier, but you're not going to see any change on the scale. So you have to get used to seeing results in other ways. What do you mean? Well, Bob, think about it. If you're only able to walk 10 or 15 minutes today, and next month you're able to walk 30 or 40 minutes, those are improvements that have nothing to do with the scale. Okay? If you're a waist size 36 today, Michael Miracle, and all of a sudden you're a waist size 33 or 34 next month, those are huge improvements. That means that you're starting to change shape. So think about this. There's 2 things that we determine when it comes to weight loss. The number on the scale, but also shape. If you're built like a pear, and all of a sudden you're built more like a carrot stick, that's a victory, right? Who cares if the scale hasn't changed? If you've gone down 3 or 4 or 5 inches on your waistline, that's not only a victory, that's a rout. That is awesome. You are kicking butt. You know, when I started this about 100 some odd days ago, my waist was like back up to like a 38. Now I'm back down to a 32, you know? But guess what? I'm in a little bit of a stall. Right now I'm still in that 165 to 168 range. So did I hit my 100-day goal? No. Where Elaine kept going, I'm in a little bit of a stall. But here's the thing, and I think Elaine knows this too. Elaine, even if you hit a stall in the future, we don't stop doing what we do. Just keep on walking, keep on trucking. We'll get there. Who cares if it takes me 150 days instead of 100? I'm here, okay? If it takes you not 60 days to lose 1 pound, but it takes you 100 days to lose 1 single pound, who cares? We'll do it together. I don't know if you guys know about this, but I watch all these videos where they tell us we have no willpower. Guys, I'm out in 95-degree heat for the 22nd day in a row. There's a little willpower in there. But I'm telling you, when you do the walk, talk, vent protocol, willpower is a byproduct. We walk every single day. Why? Because whenever we want to take a day off, we're able to. So why wouldn't we walk every single day? We drink water every single day. Why? Because we ultimately want to get off the Coca-Cola. And although we're still drinking the occasional poor drink choice, right? We're trying to walk in the right direction. We avoid sugar every day. Why? Because we realize that there's going to be moments like the 4th of July and Thanksgiving where we want to have a piece of pumpkin pie. And by golly, we're going to do it. And we're going to start looking at bad food choices like candies and cakes and Dorito chips. We're going to start looking at that as something that we can take it or leave it. Because that's where the real power comes from. Right now, you see a donut, there's a piece of you that wants to grab it and devour it. Well, in the future, if you look at that same donut and you say, you know what, I can take it or leave it, and I'm going to go ahead and leave it and go on my walk, guys, that's a victory. That's a victory, okay? When you can tell yourself, honey, you can have the soda, I'm just going to have a glass of water at this meal, that's a victory. Oh, and by the way, because of inflation and stuff, when you go to the restaurant, have you noticed the price of a soda is basically $3 or $4.99? Okay? If you're ditching sodas when you go out to eat for water, trust me, that's a victory. Okay? And if you go out to lunch every single day and instead of getting the Whopper meal, you're just getting the Whopper and drinking water with it, my God, you just saved yourself $7. The Whopper sandwich is $7, the meal is $13.99. You're saving $7 a day, okay? So if you want, round up that money, and at the end of each month, go to the grocery store, buy yourself some Skinny Pop, buy yourself some carrots and some snap peas, and let's start to really attack this MFer. Yeah! Yeah! God, I wonder how many of my neighbors think I'm nuts. They all do. I am crazy for weight loss, and we're gonna do it together, Venters. All right. Have a good day on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Have a good day!